What if the very thing that explains our circumstances is also the very thing that contributes to them? For example, let's say you have a romantic interest and you've seen each other on and off, hot, cold, and maybe they don't get back to you for a long time. Maybe they're seeing other people. You might have read very fascinating and detailed books on their behavior. You might have even joined programs and attended coaching and tried to make things work. Now, for a large amount of people, to their own detriment, despite trying to resolve the struggle, it seems to either backfire or it drifts away into the wind and it doesn't resolve. And we're left alone, eating ourselves away, trapped in an emotional state that sucks. So like I said, what if the very things that could explain the circumstances are actually contributing to the circumstances, the struggle we face? Let me give you a quick analogy that hopefully makes sense. Let's say you want to learn how to drive a car, right? Would you say the person who doesn't know how to drive a car is a broken person? Generally speaking, most people who learn how to drive cars are teenagers to under 20s. Sometimes people in the 40s come back to learn how to drive a car. But would you say that this person is broken? I would say no, it's just a normal person. They're simply, from a clean state, from a state of 100%, are simply just upgrading themselves from them at that point. I don't know how to fly a helicopter. I'm actually interested in learning how to fly a helicopter, maybe even an airplane in the future, maybe within the next decade. Am I a broken person because I don't know how to fly a helicopter just yet? No, I'm actually perfectly fine. Sure, unless I maybe had some weird-ass disability, but that's a little different. You do have to qualify to be able to access this thing, right? Let's say in the pursuit of trying to resolve what I imagine is very likely either your money issues or, more importantly in my channel, our relationship issues. Are we coming into the game knowing that we are in this perfectly fine position despite the circumstances? Or do we see ourselves as broken in need of fixing? And do we see our romantic interest as broken and in need of fixing? Because if we see them as such, then so shall they be. Manifestation 101. We tell the story in our head, and the story, by default, just comes into fruition, irrespective of what that story looks like on a subconscious level. It just is. And so it made me think, actually, when the question was asked of me, what do you think your SP thinks of you? And at first, that was a very interesting question to think about, because in my heart, I knew 100% that the answer is they absolutely love me. But then the sentence was followed by a but. But they're feeling unwell, or they've got like problems, and that they need to resolve those problems. And funnily enough, as strange as it sounds, I thought, that's strange. I have the same problem with myself. And I'm like, damn, that has got to go. That's just wrong. I've read books on things like daddy issues and such. But strangely, I didn't realize I may have inadvertently been reinforcing a story in my own world by the very resources I used to try and understand the world around me. To an extent, books that I've read personally, such as The Absent Father Effect on Daughters, have personally helped me come to understand certain behaviors. Yes, indeed. But that was the past now. That's no longer the present, and it's not the future. Your past doesn't necessarily have to define who you are, or your future, your present. My grandmother once said to me something like, oh, you're kind of like got an autistic problem. And with all due respect, I love you, Grandma, I said. And I said, that does not define me. Out the window with that. Because if I was to keep identifying with that and fondling that, when I say fondle, I mean think of this in a very sexual way. Fondling the idea of autism. Fondling the idea of being bipolar. Fondling the idea that you have daddy issues. Fondling the idea that we are broken. Fondling the idea that our romantic interest is broken. That if we tell ourselves a story that if only they changed. You might even be fixated on changing yourself because you come from the place that you yourself are broken. And no matter what you do, you tell yourself, nothing seems to work. And it may just be that we had not realized that we were in a trap, a cycle of telling ourselves a story that just comes into fruition naturally, as is. So there you go.